Hi, I'm Sheu. Today I'll be reviewing the Dynamic Age Defense Sunscreen from Pavise. First, let's talk about the basics. This sunscreen has an SPF of 30 and its UVA protection is rated as PA 4+. The active ingredient is 15% zinc oxide, and the current price is $148 US for 1 fluid ounce. First, let's talk about what I like about this sunscreen. It is a true mineral sunscreen. You might be wondering what I mean by that. Aren't all sunscreens without chemical filters true mineral sunscreens? The answer to that question is that it's not quite so simple. The founder of Pavise was one of the authors on a Perspectives article in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology that, among other topics, discussed the topic of sunscreen doping. The gist of sunscreen doping is that many sunscreens that are advertised as quote-unquote mineral sunscreens actually use chemical ingredients that are not regulated by the FDA as sunscreen filters. These ingredients can be structurally and functionally similar to regulated ingredients, but because they're not FDA-regulated filters, they can hide in the inactive ingredients list, and purchasers think they are using a truly mineral sunscreen. Take a look with me at this list of popular sunscreens, many of which are advertised as mineral sunscreens that contain these ingredients that are effectively unregulated chemical UV filters. That was a long segue, starting from the fact that I appreciate that this is a true mineral sunscreen. I personally use both chemical and physical sunscreens, but I receive so many questions about what is a good mineral sunscreen that I appreciate that this is something that I can recommend to those people. Another slightly frivolous reason that I like this sunscreen is that it is fancy, and it generally makes me feel like a princess. I love the premium packaging and feel. Even opening and closing the box that it comes in is super satisfying. Continuing on with what I like about this sunscreen, the Pavise Dynamic Age Defense Sunscreen has a relatively smooth application for a true mineral sunscreen, and that's an important caveat. I wouldn't say that the texture and application are in my top 5 for sunscreens, period, but for a mineral sunscreen, it's pretty good. Like other zinc-based sunscreens, it is a nice option for acne-prone skin. And closing out the list of what I like, this sunscreen offers a high degree of UVA protection. Next, let's talk about what I don't like about this sunscreen. This sunscreen's SPF of 30 is a little bit low for my taste. Usually I'm looking for 50 or greater, but I understand why this limitation exists. It's really hard to make a true mineral sunscreen that has an SPF of greater than that without doping it, as discussed previously, or without having a prominent white cast, which I wouldn't like either. You may also not be a fan of the price. It costs $148 for what amounts to about a 2-month supply if applied to the face and neck only. It's also not invisible. It does have a slight white cast to it. And finally, like most mineral sunscreens, I find it slightly drying. I have combination skin with dryness on my cheeks, and mineral sunscreens tend to accentuate the dry areas. Overall, I really like this sunscreen, but I struggle with the price point, especially for long-term use or for recommendation to my friends, family, and patients. The niche that I see this working for is people who want to use a truly mineral sunscreen that's not doped, as well as people who are used to using higher priced skincare ingredients to begin with, such as people who are already using La Mer, for example. I personally gravitate toward less expensive products in general, so I'll probably continue using my less expensive chemical sunscreen. Thanks for joining me for another review, and I hope to see you at my next one. Goodbye.